Hello everyone, welcome to the Dandelion Economics series. Today's video will be on 2.1. As we begin this video, we are already moving into the second unit of our syllabus, microeconomics. As a review, microeconomics relates to those minor things in the economic sectors, such as looking at the behaviors of consumers and producers. So, supply and demand is one of the most important concepts in economics, but particularly for microeconomics. We'll start by looking at demand. Before we review the concept, we'll first begin by looking at the market. So what does a market mean? A market is where people who are willing and able to purchase exchange with people who are willing and able to provide that same good, service, or resource. As you might have already noticed, there is a balance or an equilibrium between what people need and what people supply. In other words, the supply is dependent on the need. If there is no need, then where does the supply go to? So if people want an apple, there will be someone who produces the apple and be able to exchange that. There are different types of markets that we're looking at right here. So the factor refers to the factors of productions, the four, including capital, labor, entrepreneurship, and more. So these factors are important for suppliers because they will need them for production. So producers will go to the factor market and get what they want. And products, on the other hand, are for consumers. They relate to anything that's referred to right here, goods, services, or resources. So they could purchase any of those products in the product market. The form of market, usually on a common sense, markets, when people talk about markets refers to those physical markets that people go to buy veggies or fruits. But they're not only physical, they can be beyond physical, being online. So thinking about online shopping, they could take place on an online platform, but still be able to achieve that same function of exchanging with people who are consumers and who are producers. Next, let's take a look at the definition of demand. This is important, so I recommend you to put that in your notes. So demand refers to the ability and willingness to purchase a quantity of product at a certain price. Here, the two keywords are written in all caps. So ability and willingness. This means that the person who is demanding the good has to be able to purchase that and be willing to purchase that. So if you have enough money to purchase an apple, but you don't want it at a particular day, you don't have the demand for that. Vice versa, if I want an expensive and luxurious sports car, I'm willing to purchase it, but I'm not able to. That would not be demand either. Therefore, both of these, both ability and willingness, have to be met in order for demand to be met. Demand also comes in multiple forms, and it includes individual and market demand. So individual demand refers to demand of one person for a product. So taking myself as an example, if I want an apple, that's my individual demand, and it excludes the demand from anyone else. And moving on to market demand, it is the summation of all individual demands at every price. So if you draw on the graph, it's from $1, for example, the individual demand of person A and person B and person C plus everyone who's in that market who is a consumer. And that's market demand. And then we have this law of demand, which is also a very important concept to remember for economics. It states that as the price of a good rises, the quantity demanded will usually fall. Ceteris paribus, and vice versa. So this means that there is an inverse and negative relationship between the price and the quantity demanded. However, in the statement that I just made, there are two concepts that I want to refer to. One is ceteris paribus and the other is vice versa. So what do they mean? Ceteris paribus means to keep all other factors constant, but just changing one factor, and here it means the price. So as the price changes, the quantity demanded will change. But it excludes all other factors that might possibly influence the quantity demanded. And that is what we use in the economic studies, to keep all other factors constant and controlled. And then we have vice versa. So this is pretty simple to remember. If the price of a good rises, the quantity falls. Then if the price of a good decreases, then the quantity rises. So it's just inversing the concepts and the relationships. Let's look at the graph right here. So the negative relationship means there is a negative slope. The slope is decreasing and the line is tending towards a decreasing trend. Because as the quantity changes from Q1, which is this point right here, to Q2, which is this point right here, the price is falling. So if we look at it this way, if the price rises from P2 to P1, then according to the graph, the quantity will fall from Q2 to Q1, and that matches the law of demand. Next, let's look at some of the changes to the demand curve. There are two ways that the demand curve could change. One is in the change in quantity demanded, and this refers to the change on the demand curve. So it's like this graph right here. If it's along the demand curve, it means that the point shifted from here to here, but the demand curve itself did not experience any movement. However, we have the change in demand, and that's caused by a shift in the demand curve. So from D to D2 right here. And this is caused by something that's other than the price. It's called the non-price determinant of demand, which we will cover in further videos. So this, a point along the demand curve changing is caused solely by the price change. And here it's caused by anything other than the price change. And that's the examples of demand. Altogether, we have the concept of demand. And that's all from Dandelion today. If you have any questions, please comment down below. And if you would like to stay tuned for further videos, please click subscribe. See you next time.